Okay, welcome to today's session on the Business Analysis Foundation certificate course. And I can see quite a number of us here. And it's an honor and a privilege truly to be facilitating this session today. Let me start by introducing myself. Okay, my name is Ernest Obiashaka. I have 10 years hands-on experience working and leading projects in various sectors of the economy. And I've also been involved in numerous interventions in sales, IT service management, occupational safety and health, business process improvement, project management. And I'm also a certified Lean Six Sigma Master Black Belter. I'm certified DevOps professional, certified Scrum Master, I'm certified project manager, also a certified health and safety manager, certified IT service management professional, or a certified information security associate. I'm a certified cybersecurity professional, also certified ISO 9001 document controller. Was there some other certificates in ISO 45001 internal audit, warehouse and stores management, supply chain and logistics management, procurement and contract management, facility and asset management as well. Okay, I've facilitated trainings for quite a number of organizations all over the country, MTN Nigeria, First Bank, Netco, Daystar Christian Center, Masters Energy, Petrolex, Wema Bank, Honeywell, Main One, Jais Bank, and a few others. I'm currently the head of training at Oak Interlink, the junior partner, and also I'll be facilitating today's session. Okay, so let's dive right into the business of the day. This is just a little about who I am. Okay, so I can also see some of us who are also here today. I can see Mr. Bola, I can see Kike also. I can see Mobola Jido. I can see Levite, you're welcome. I can see Olajide, you're also welcome. I can see Mr. Ashiru, you're welcome. Wait, I can see Mr. Yomi, you're welcome. I can see Eze, you're also welcome. I can also see a few other people. Mr. Baruwani, also you're welcome. Okay, so we're all welcome to today's session, and we're going to be looking at what business analysis is about, the basics and the fundamentals really, as it relates to the CBAP certification program. Okay, so everything you need to know about business analysis certification is what we're going to start from. Understanding what the certification is about. So about business analysis certification, it's very much important if you're actually new and to this space or to business analysis, and it's about to actually require you to set your steps in the right direction by going through this program. In the growing job market, certified professionals are in high demand today. So as a result, companies are actually looking for candidates who are professionally trained and eligible to work as business analysts. So many organizations like the International Institute of Business Analysis, IIBA, that's they provide various certifications to analyze and validate the professionals with adequate expertise. Now, the IIBA is the certification body that actually certifies, one of the certifying bodies that certify people as it relates to business analysis. They originated from Canada, and they are one of the most recognized certifying bodies that certify people as relating to business analysis. Okay, So there are different types of certifications by the IIBA. Remember, the IIBA is the International Institute for Business Analysis. They're a well-known certification authority for business analysis, and they offer these three important types of certifications. Now, the first one has to do with the entry certificate in business analysis, ECBA. Some of us might have heard of the ECBA certification. That's the entry level. That's the first stage. And then we have the next level, which is the certification of competency in business analysis. This is the CCBA certification. Then we have the topmost level, which is the Certified Business Analysis Professional, which popularly we call CBAP. So CBAP simply means the Certified Business Analysis Professional. And it's important you understand, the idea behind these various levels of certification by the IIBA. How did they come about, rating or placing them at these different levels? Let's understand these different levels from a very lovely concept by this guy called Bloom. He came up with what we call the taxonomy as it relates to learning. We call it Bloom's taxonomy. So he analyzed and came up with this, structure of learning. So the different levels of the IIBA certifications align with this particular Bloom's taxonomy. How? Okay, let me explain what I mean by that. So at the lowest level in learning is the point at which you try to remember things. It means you read from a body of knowledge. You actually acquire knowledge. You read a book of some sort and you try to remember those things that you've been taught. So the idea here at the lowest level is to remember, which is to recall facts or have basic knowledge, of, basic concepts, to be able to define, to be able to duplicate, to be able to list, to be able to memorize things, to be able to repeat things, and to be able to state things. You understand? So that's the lowest level, to be able to remember things. Then also the next level is to be able to understand things. After this level of remembering, the next level is to be able to understand things. These are the levels of learning that the average person has to undergo. So the least level is remembering. The next level is to understand what you've read. You understand? Yeah, you've read something, but you need to understand what you've read. That's the next level. So this understanding something requires you to be able to explain things, to be able to classify things, to be able to describe things, to be able to discuss things, to be able to explain things, to be able to identify things, to be able to recognize things, to be able to report or select or translate things that you've read. So these two levels, the remember and understand, is actually what the level one is based upon. That is, the level one is the entry certificate in business analysis. Now, the level one focuses around basic knowledge. So it requires that in this level of certification, the exam will be testing you on, your ability to be able to recall things from what you've read, the knowledge you've acquired, which in this regard, there's what we call a body of knowledge. There's what we call a body of knowledge. The popular book that governs this program is called the BABOK, popularly known as the BABOK. It is called A Guide to the Business Analysis Body of Knowledge. So the entry level, the level one, is actually going to test you on how much knowledge you've been able to acquire at the basic level. That's the level one entry certificate in business analysis. It's going to test you on how much you have been able to remember from this book that you've read, how much you're able to recollect. You understand? So you're going to see questions that will require you to define, to list. You understand? The next level, remember, from your Bloom taxonomy, is to be able to understand. So it's going to test you on how much you've understood what you've read. So that level one, which is the entry certificate in business analysis, this is it, the entry certificate in business analysis, is actually going to be testing you on how much you have read, how much you are able to actually understand from what you've read. You understand? How much you'll be able to remember from what you've read. So that is the entry level, that first level entry certificate in business analysis. So you're going to see questions that will ask you to list things, to define things, you understand, to explain things. Those are the kind of questions you see at that entry level. Now, the next level, based on the Bloom taxonomy, you notice that after these two levels of remembering and understanding the knowledge, what you've read from the body of knowledge, you understand, the Bible guide, for example, the next level is to be able to apply what you've read. You understand? Meaning you must use these informations in situations. So in given scenarios, you understand, you will be actually asked, okay, this kind of situation, applying this knowledge in this situation, what do you think will happen? So the level here has to do with your ability to apply the knowledge you've acquired. You understand? To be able to execute, to be able to implement, to be able to solve, to be able to use, to be able to demonstrate, to be able to interpret, to be able to operate, schedule, sketch, and so on and so forth. Now, the next level, after being able to apply what you've read and you now know, is to analyze given scenarios, situations, to be able to draw conclusions among the ideas, to be able to differentiate, organize, relate, compare, contrast, distinguish, examine, experiment, question, test. So the level 2, which is the certification of capability in business analysis, is going to test you as it relates to your ability to be able to apply the knowledge you've acquired from the body of knowledge, Bible guide, to be able to also analyze given situations. So the exam questions around this level 2 certification will be more around situational based questions. So you are going to see situational based questions, you understand, which is something similar to what you see in the PMP certification exams. The PMP certification exams are mainly situational based questions. So also this level 2 in the IIBA certifications of business analysis, where we are talking about the level 2, we're talking about the certification of capability in business analysis. It actually is going to test you on your ability to be able to apply the knowledge you've acquired from the Bible guide. You understand? The business analysis body of knowledge. It's going to test you on your ability to be able to analyze given scenarios. So what you're going to begin to see are mainly scenario-based questions, situational-based questions. Those are the questions you're going to see in the level 2, which has to do with, certification in the capability. So it's going to be testing you on your capability, which is the skills to be able to actually analyze given scenarios or situations, to be able to apply the knowledge in different situations. That's what we're going to be testing on. Now, the next level, which is the highest level here, is to now begin to evaluate. It means you will now be able to justify a stand. You have been able to remember, understand, apply the knowledge you've acquired, analyze given scenarios. Then you can now draw conclusions and be able to justify a stand. It means you can now be able to appraise, you can argue, you can defend, you can judge, you can select, you can support, you can criticize. It means you can look at the Bible guide at this level and begin to say, no, I don't agree with this. Based on this doesn't sound correct. So it means you will not take a stand and take a decision to either say this is correct or this is not correct. It means, because one of the things we must understand is that even though the IIBA, the International Institute for Business Analysis, is an international certification body that originated from Canada, they are not the know-it-all, you understand? Their knowledge can also be questioned. And that's when you get to that stage of being able to question whatever they've written and be able to make a decision whether what they've written is right or not, to be able to criticize it, to be able to weigh it and decide whether it's right or not. That is one of the highest levels when it comes to your learning. Then finally, then you begin to create, because you've looked at what this body of knowledge has stated, and you are able to now say, no, I don't agree with this, or, oh, no, I agree with this, depending on what you've been able to evaluate. So if you say, oh, look, I have evaluated what has been written in the body of knowledge, the Bible guide, the business analysis body of knowledge, I I've seen that certain areas are not applicable in our own industry. Certain areas that they've stated are not applicable in my country. Then you begin to create, you begin to produce a new or original work. You understand? It means you now come up with your own body of knowledge. You now come up with your own concept, your own ideologies, your own school of thought. You become what is known as a thought leader. That means you begin to construct, you understand, thoughts. You begin to formulate new thoughts. You begin to author. You begin to, investigate. You begin to construct new things. And at this level, this is where the CBAB certification is. These two highest level, to evaluate and to create. To evaluate and to create. So at this level, this is the level 3. Listen, this is the level 3, whereby at the level 3, you become a certified business analyst professional. And when we're talking about certified business analyst professionals, trust me, the exam questions here are not define, list, explain, no. They are not scenario-based questions, no. They are case studies. So what you get to see are case studies that you will need to evaluate and then be able to come up with a new thought as regards what is actually happening here. So as related to the CBAB certification, as the Certified Business Analysis Professional Certification level, the testing here is going to be based on case studies. The level 2, the testing here will be based on scenarios, given situations. So there will be scenario-based questions. At the level 3, it will be basic knowledge, which requires you to define, list, explain. You understand? You see questions like what is. Those are the lowest level that you get to see when we are talking about this, CBAB level. The CBAB level is actually at that level of having to say, let me put this at the lowest level. Let me put this at the lowest level. Mr. Ido, please, can you mute yourself? Mr. Ido, can you mute yourself? Okay. So the lowest level, you're here, no experience is required. That's the entry certificate in business analysis. They don't require any experience from you. At the level 2, they're requiring that, that means you've already started working as a business analyst somewhere. So, they're looking at 2 to 3 years experience, results, or experience. So meaning you must be result oriented at this level 2. At the level 3, you're talking about 5 years plus. You understand? 5+ years experience. That's what they expect you to have acquired over the years in your workplace as it concerns, leading a set of people, being a top, you understand, a top leader. So it means you deliver business value at this stage. That's what's expected. So we have level 1, level 2, and level 3. Level 1 is entry certificate business analysis. Level 2 is certification of capability, which is testing on your capability to be able to deliver results. And then level 3 is actually going to be required that you are an expert. It means that you are functioning as a thought leader. So that which is the level 3 and level 4 at the same levels, which is the certified business analysis thought leader. Here you are functioning to be able to deliver, you understand, leadership at the highest level. So it means you are able to function at that capacity or at that level. So our focus here is CBAB. Remember, our focus here is the CBAB certification. For those of us who are actually looking at the CBAB, I wanted to help us see that if you are going to be operating or functioning at that level, it means the exam is not going to be testing you on the basic knowledge. It's going to be testing you on advanced knowledge. Advanced knowledge of what? Advanced knowledge of the body of knowledge. What body of knowledge? The body of knowledge called the Babok Guide. The Babok Guide. The Babok is what you have here. This is the Babok. Can you see? This is the Babok. It's going to be testing you on the Babok, which is a business analysis body of knowledge. You understand? That's the Babok. But then again, let's look at each of this and what is required of you as you actually, study and you go through this certification. Let's understand what is required of you in as a business analyst. What is required of you really? Let's understand this. Let's look at it together. Okay, so we're going to explore this and go to the IIBA platform. Let's go to the IIBA platform. Okay, so looking at the IIBA platform, we're going to search for some of the things required of someone who is at the different levels. So let's quickly open to the IIBA platform, and this is the IIBA website. That's, remember, IIBA represents the International Institute of Business Analysis. So this is the IIBA platform, as you can see. Okay, so let's go to certifications. Let's go to certifications, IIBA certifications. Let's go there and see what is offered there. Okay, so the IIBA certification, you notice that, let's start with the level 1, which is the Entry Certificate in Business Analysis, popularly known as the ECBA. The ECBA. So the ECBA, remember, what is required of you in terms of competence? Let's look at the competence required for someone who is at the level 1, which is Entry Certificate in Business Analysis. So let's learn more about the ECBA competences. So what are the competences? Notice that you will get to see something very important here. You will see something very important here. You notice that they said business analysis knowledge, which is what is required here. So you will notice that they require proficiency and measurement criteria for, these are the proficiency and measurement for criteria for the competencies. Notice for the entry level, what they require is basic knowledge. Now, this is what they require, basic knowledge. It means they are just going to be asking you questions as relating to the fundamentals. So it just, basic skills, you understand, basic knowledge. That's what they're going to be asking. I remember the Bloom taxonomy I showed you just now, and I mentioned something about 2 levels. The first level is to remember, so they are going to be trying to get you to find out whether you remember what you've read in the Bible guide. So you will see questions that will be trying to ask you, find out whether you remember all that you've read. Then the next level is understand, whether you've understood what you've read, meaning can you put it in your own words, you understand? Now, whether you've understood what you've read. So you notice something here, understand, you understand? Have you seen understand? So then you notice something also very important here. At this level, they just require that you are able to follow rules. Now, so this is the entry level, level 1. Just what they require of you is to just follow rules. You understand? That's all. They just require you to follow rules. Now, let's go to the next levels. I'm also still going to talk about what is covered in the ECBA, what is covered there. Let's go back and go to the next level, which is the level 2. And the level 2, remember, is the CCBA, which has to do with certification of capability in business analysis. When we talk about capability, it's talking about testing on how skillful you are. And skill here talks about your ability to be able to apply knowledge. You understand? So we looked at the Bloom taxonomy earlier, and we saw that it talked about your ability to be able to apply knowledge. It means you must be able to apply knowledge. You understand? And not just be able to apply knowledge. We also saw the second level, which had to do also with your ability to be able to analyze. Remember, draw conclusions, to be able to analyze, to be able to draw conclusions. If you remember, we saw that. So this is very important. It's going to be testing on your ability to be able to analyze and draw conclusions. So let's go back to the website of IIBA. So you notice that it talks about the certification of capability in business analysis. And let's look at the capabilities for this particular level, the capabilities. Let's look at the capabilities here. So notice that the capabilities here is now focusing on not just, the other one is talks about your following rules. You understand? Following rules, that's the level 1. Here, you are not just following rules, you are modifying the existing rules. Now, you notice that at the second level, it talks about skill. So capability is talking about skill. You understand? Meaning you become skillful when you are able to apply knowledge again and again and again. So it means you become skillful at it, because skill comes from application of knowledge. It's different from just being knowledgeable. You understand? There's someone who is knowledgeable and someone who is skillful are completely different. So the level 2 certification exam is going to be testing you on how skillful you are, your ability to be able to modify the rules, unlike the previous level 1, which involved just following the rules. Now here, you're able to modify existing rules. Then you're able to recommend actions. That's a very lovely one. Now, meaning someone who is skillful is able to recommend actions. Then notice what I said earlier, apply knowledge. Can you see it? That's the blue taxonomy we saw earlier. Remember, the first one level, the lowest level is remember. Second level is understand. Then after that is to apply. And if you remember, that's the level 2, apply. So in this section, they're going to be testing on your ability to apply knowledge, to be able to apply knowledge. Very important. So it means you must be regarded to be skillful to be able to do this exam. So there's some level of experience they will require of you to be able to actually show that you've applied this knowledge of business analysis within given scenarios in your office, in your business. You understand? Now, some of us might have been doing business analysis, but we probably don't know that we are doing business analysis. So my job here is to help you put it in perspective, to help you put it to perspective, to help you see that, oh, I've really been doing business analysis, but I did not see it that way. I didn't see it in that perspective. You understand? So mine is to put it in proper perspective for you to see that, oh, you've been doing business analysis one way or the other. It's just that you've not seen it that way. Do you understand? So don't think that, oh, I don't have any experience in business analysis, so I can't, do a certification in CBAB or in ECB or in no, that's not what we're saying. You must be able to understand, have you been really doing it? Let's put it in proper perspective, what you've been doing, and if what you're doing aligns with what I'm going to be showing you in the next few hours. You understand? Okay, so we have applied knowledge, which is the CCBA. So let's go to the next certification, which has to do with the CBAB itself. The CBAB itself. Remember what CBAB means? It means the Certified Business Analysis Professional. The Certified Business Analysis Professional. Anybody that is regarded to be a professional must have knowledge. One, not just knowledge, advanced knowledge. It means if you are said to be a professional, it means you must have advanced knowledge. That's number one. Two, you must have skills. You understand? When we talk about skill set, it means your ability to be able to apply and you utilize tools and techniques, to be able to deploy tools and techniques. And I'm going to show you what I mean by that, because we are going to see that in the Babok guide, you are required as a business analyst to be able to utilize certain tools and must be able to know certain techniques to deploy this knowledge. So it means for someone who is regarded as a professional, it means you must be a knowledgeable person, not just basic knowledge, advanced knowledge. Then you must be skillful at the use of certain tools and being able to actually be able to do certain techniques. Do you understand? So it is important you understand this. For someone who is actually functioning as a professional, it means you are someone who is able to apply, tools and techniques skillfully. That's the word, skillfully. So you must be knowledgeable, advanced knowledge. You must be skillful at applying the appropriate tools and utilizing the right techniques. Then lastly, you must have the right behavior. You understand? You must have the right behavior. And we're going to see this as it flows. So for you to be a professional, these three things must be present. You must be highly knowledgeable. You must be highly skillful. And you must be someone who behaves the part. Do you understand? You behave the part. So you notice that this certified business analyst professional, let's look at some of the competencies here. Let's look at the competencies here. Okay. So looking at the competencies, let's look at this, the competencies. Let's look at the competencies. Now, you notice something here. It says creates rules. Look at it. Creates rules. Creates rules. The first level, we saw that this entry-level personnel in business analysis follows rules. The second level, which is the capability stage, which talks about skills, is someone who modifies rules. Now, look at the CBAB level. Number one, they expect that you are an expert. That's the first thing. So what is required? That you are an expert. That's number one. Number two, it's not skill that they are requiring from you alone. They are requiring expertise. Someone who is at this level to be able to function as a professional must have expertise. That's number one. Number two, notice you must be able to create rules, not follow rules, not modify rules, but create new rules. You understand? Which is very important. Now, you notice also advanced knowledge. Can you see? Advanced knowledge. So at the level one, what is required of you is basic knowledge. Do you understand? But at the CBAB level, the level three, they require advanced knowledge from you. So like I said, the questions you see will be more centered on case studies. So you have case studies, they have 10 questions, case studies, then 10 questions. And we're going to see how some of these things play out. So then the next thing is to be able to practice. It guides, you must guide practice. You understand? You must guide practice. So this is actually what is required of someone who is a certified business analyst professional, business analysis professional. That is what is expected of this person. And now, one of the very important things you must also note as regards this very section is that someone who is functioning at these levels, remember the level one is going to test you on to remember and understand. The level two is going to test you on your ability to be able to apply this knowledge you've read that you now remember and understand. It's going to test you on your ability to be able to analyze it. And then the last third level, which is the CBAB level, is going to test you on your ability to be able to evaluate, you understand, a case study and to be able to create a new line of thought. Do you understand? Good. So the ECBA certification doesn't require any working experience from you. So a fresh graduate can come out and do an ECB. You understand? No previous business analysis work experience is required from such a person. And of course, there's an agreement that you must sign off with the ECBA Code of Conduct. There must be an agreement with the ECBA Code of Conduct. When it comes to the exam, the details as regards the exam for this one, for the ECBA, remember, it's entry level, involves an application fee, which is about $60, and it's not refundable. Now, the exam fee for this level is $110 for the IIBA membership. You understand? For the IIBA membership, that's those who are members of the IIBA. They actually will need to pay $110 for the exams. But those who are non-members of the IIBA, you understand, body, then their exam fee at this level will be $235. Now, so the trainee has to answer, that means whoever is undergoing this exam has to answer 50 questions within a duration of 1 hour. You understand? And, the certification that will be issued, there's no new renewal required. You understand? You don't need to renew the certification at this level. So once you are issued this certification, it's for life. You understand? Now, the next level, which is the capability level, remember the C certificate, certified, this is the certificate that has to do with capability in business analysis. You understand? Certificate in capability in terms of business analysis certification. So here, a minimum of 3,750 hours of business analysis work experience is required. That actually aligns with the Babok guide, not just aligns with business analysis generally, but aligns with IIBA's Babok guide in the last 7 years. That's what's required for this level, with a minimum of 900 hours in each of the 2 of the 6 knowledge areas. Now, I will help us understand something as it relates to this very important point here. When it talks about the minimum of 900 hours in each of the 2 of the 6 knowledge areas, or at least a minimum of 500 hours in each of the 4 of the 6 knowledge areas. Now, in the business analysis program, there are 6 areas you need to have knowledge of. There are 6 areas you need to have knowledge of. Now, if it's at the entry level, you need to have basic knowledge. If it's at the CBAB level, which is the Certified Business Analysis Professional, at the professional level, you need to have advanced knowledge, you understand, in this area. So there are 6 areas, you understand, which you need to have knowledge of. And when we're talking about these 6 areas, let me just digress a bit. So when we talk about these 6 areas, let me go back into what I'm trying to explain. Now, these are the 6 knowledge areas. You understand? So you have the elicitation and collaboration. That's the first area you need to have knowledge in. This is captured in the business analysis body of knowledge, the BABOK guide. You understand? Now, this first knowledge area, elicitation and collaboration, you understand, is very important. Then you have the second, which is the business analysis, planning and monitoring. That's the second knowledge area. Then you have the requirements, life cycle and management. That's the third knowledge area. Now, these areas, these knowledge areas are what we call overarching knowledge areas. You understand? Now, I will explain what I mean by overarching. Then you have the fourth knowledge area, which is strategy analysis. The fifth knowledge area, which is requirement analysis and design definition. And then you have the sixth knowledge area, which is solution evaluation. So you have these knowledge areas. There are 6 of them. You must have, in as it relates to the entry level, you must have basic knowledge in all of these areas. The exam will test you on this knowledge. Or the knowledge you have on in all of these areas. Now, in the CBAB certification, you must have advanced knowledge in all of these areas. Now, I must also point out, for someone who is functioning as a business analyst, you cannot have expertise in all of the 6 areas. Now, you can only have expertise in 4 of these areas. It means the 3 in the middle, you can only specialize in 1 of these 3. Listen, you can only specialize in 1 of these 3 areas, meaning you can either specialize in the area of strategy analysis, or you specialize in the area of requirements analysis and design definition, or you specialize in the area which we call solution evaluation. What does this mean? Let me explain what I mean by this. Just follow me carefully. Let me explain what I mean by this. Okay. Okay. Just 1 minute, please. Okay, this is where I'm going. This is what I'm looking for. Okay, so here, this is the average business. There's the pre, meaning there's the initial point when an organization sits down and begins to look at how to be able to change things, meaning either they begin to look at how to increase revenue or how to be able to reduce profit. So they come up with a strategy on how to actualize that. So they have strategy sessions. The strategy session they have is what we call the pre-project. Now, follow me carefully. Now, there's the initial point where an organization, sits down and begin to look at that it's time we change the way we are doing things. It's time we expand. It's time we increase our revenue. It's time we actually reduce our cost of doing business. Either we reduce our running cost or we increase, you understand, our revenue, and to be able to make more profit. Because the whole idea here is to be able to understand that once you are able to reduce, listen, you're able to reduce the cost of doing business, then your revenue will increase. In that sense, your profit will increase. I repeat, if you are able to reduce your cost of doing business and you're able to increase your revenue, it means your profit margin will increase. Now, if your profit increases, then it means your business can begin to expand. So what happens is that a business analyst looks at the business holistically. It looks at the business from the perspective and analyze whether the business is making profit or is making loss by evaluating and looking at its profit margin, by also checking its running cost, the cost of doing business, and against the revenue generated. So if its revenue generation is low and its cost of doing business is high, that means it needs to change the way this business is running. It needs to look for a strategy to be able to help increase revenue and reduce cost so that its profit margin can be higher. In order to actualize that, what does it do? It simply sits down to strategize, and that is where the strategy sessions come in. So it does what is called strategy analysis, and there are business analysts in terms of specialists who specialize in this area of business analysis. They specialize in strategy analysis. That means they sit down to evaluate what best strategy can we come up with to increase revenue or to reduce cost. So there are business analysts who specialize in this area, which is called strategy analysis. This is what we call the pre-project. Now, once a strategy has been once a strategy has been developed, then they come up with a strategy. The next thing is to recommend a solution. Now, when they are recommending a solution, they will hand that recommended solution to be implemented by a project manager. That is where project management comes in. Project management involves the implementation of the recommended solution recommended during the strategy session that the business analysis had sat with the senior management staffs, board of directors, as the case may be, to strategize and analyze what solution could actually help increase revenue and reduce costs to increase the profit margin and reduce the loss the business is experiencing. So they recommend a solution whereby the project manager implements. So there's during the project. During the project, the business analyst also comes in here. The business analyst that specializes in this area does what is called requirements analysis, design, and definition. We call this RAD, R-A-D-D. This particular specialist business analysis in this area actually does what is called requirements engineering. He does what is called requirements gathering. He does what is called requirements collection. Here, he does elicitation and collaboration. So you understand that this business analyst who is in this area is specialized in this area. Now, then after the solution has been implemented, they now hand it over to operations. Operations, the implementation of a solution could be a product or could be a special or unique type of service to render. Now, once they are able to complete this via a project, they hand it over to operations to mass produce or duplicate this product or to be able to serve more people with it. And that is where the next business analysis specialization comes in, called solution evaluation. Solution evaluation is what we call post-project. So you have pre-project, during project, and post-project. Pre-project, there's a specialization of a business analyst here, which is strategy analysis. During project, there's a specialization of a business analyst here, which is requirements analysis, design, and definition. Post-project, there's another specialization of another business analyst here that involves the recommended solution during the strategy session that was implemented. The business analyst in the post-projects now begins to evaluate whether the solution addressed the identified problem during the strategy analysis. So it begins to evaluate whether the solution has actually addressed the problem. That is the post-project specialization of the business. So a business analyst cannot be doing all of them. He has to specialize in one of these three. He either specializes in strategy analysis, he specializes in requirements analysis, design, and definition, or he specializes in solution evaluation. He either specializes in pre-project or during project or post-project. So it means he must specialize in one of these three. Now, if he specializes in one of these three, the next thing, understand that there are 6 knowledge areas. There are 6 areas he needs to have knowledge in. So if he has knowledge in these 6 areas, so if he is doing strategy analysis, he will now do, while doing strategy analysis, he will do elicitation and collaboration. He will do business analysis, planning and monitoring. He will do requirements lifecycle management. So it means if you are specialized in business analysis, you must do these 3, this overarching. You understand? You must do these 3. You must do elicitation and collaboration. You must do business analysis, planning and monitoring, and you must do requirements lifecycle management. If you are now specialized in the during project, this is business analysis is post-project, pre-project rather. Now, if you are doing during project, which is requirements analysis and design definition, then you will also be, while doing this, you'll be doing elicitation and collaboration with stakeholders. You'll be planning and monitoring, and you'll be doing requirements lifecycle management. Now, if you decide to specialize in post-project, which is solution evaluation, that means you'll be doing elicitation and collaboration, you'll be doing planning and monitoring as well, and you'll be doing requirements lifecycle management. So what does that mean? It means that while you are actually doing one of these.
Hello.
Yeah.
Please, can you take that again?
Okay, so I said that you must specialize in one of these 3 in the middle. The strategy analysis is the expertise you deploy pre-project. The requirements analysis and design definition is the expertise or specialization of a business analyst during the project. Or you actually specialize in post-project, which is solution evaluation. And I said, if you are doing either of these 3, you are specialized in either of these 3, you must be doing the remaining, all these ones above. It means if you are doing strategy analysis, you'll be doing elicitation and collaboration with stakeholders. You'll be doing planning of the entire work and monitoring, and then you also be doing requirements lifecycle management. Same goes with requirements analysis and design definition. Same goes with solution and evaluation. Once you are doing one of these 3, you'll be doing the overarching. You understand? Knowledge areas as well. You'll be involved in those ones. You'll be applied. Remember, this is applied, is the knowledge you're applying, and you must remember, business analysis here is talking, strategy analysis here is talking about needs analysis. When we say design is seen more here in the requirements analysis and design definition. I will come to that. Let's not be in a hurry to, I'm going to come to explain that. Yeah, Mr. Levite, you raised your hand.
Okay, so quick one. I want to be sure that I'm on the same page with you, right?
Okay, yeah.
So in the 4 out of the 6 knowledge areas that you're supposed to have good knowledge and
exactly.
The elicitation and collaboration, business analysis, planning and monitoring, requirement lifecycle management is a must because it applies to any of these three in the middle. Then you can now take any one of these three
Exactly.
and also make it the fourth one. Is that what you mean?
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. That's why am I explaining all this? That's why if you notice what they are requiring, let me go back a bit. Now, if you notice, you have the different levels. Now, have you noticed that the CCBA, they said you must have, look at the knowledge area proficiency. Look at it, knowledge area proficiency. They say you must have 500 plus hours experience in each 4 of the 6 knowledge areas. Why did they say you must have experience in each of the, as in each 4 of the 6? Because they know you can't have the whole 6. You're only required to have 4, which is 1 in the middle, which you are specializing in, and the overarching 3. Do you understand? Same also with the CBAP. The CBAP is 900 hours in each 4 of the 6 knowledge areas. So it means you must specialize in 1 of those 3 in the middle, and then you must be able to carry out the overarching, which is the 3 above. When I mean overarching, look at it again. The overarching, these ones, the ones above. Do you understand? So these things are not happening in phases. This is not project management whereby they are running sequentially. That's not the case here. Do you understand? They are not running sequentially. No, that's not the case here. You can see that as you are doing strategy analysis, which is the pre-project in a strategy session, you understand? The next thing you are going to be doing is to actually come up with a plan. And in the coming up with a plan, you need to collaborate, you understand, with stakeholders. You need to elicit information from them. Do you understand? And you gather requirements. So the requirements, so you are going to be doing the overarching, the ones above, you understand, while you are either doing pre-project strategy analysis, during project requirements analysis, design definition, or solution evaluation. Do you understand? So why am I explaining this? Is because you must understand that you are required to have experience. That's what is required of you from IIBA. Then I must also point out that the questions, like I said, in the entry level is just 50 questions within 1 hour. But the CCBA, you will notice that it says 3 hours. The questions are 130 multiple choice questions that you must do within 3 hours. And they are scenario-based questions, which is similar to the PMP certification exam. They are scenario-based questions. I must also point out that business analysis is broader than PMP. Business analysis is broader. You understand? When I mean broader, you notice that the business analysis is involved in pre-project, during project, and post-project. The project manager is only involved in during project. So the project manager only comes in after the pre-project to implement the recommended solution. Do you understand? So then you have the CBAP certification, which involves 120 multiple choice questions within 3.5 hours. And if you notice something here, it says it is case study based. It is case study based. It is not scenario based questions. It is case study based. Notice that. So going back to explaining the various requirements for each of the certifications. So if you notice the ECBA, like I said, okay, I was explaining the CCBA before we moved to explaining why we are required to have 4 of the 6 knowledge areas. That was what made me digress. I was explaining this particular slide. So you must have a minimum of 21 hours of professional development in the past 4 years. Then you must have 2 references from a career manager or a CBAP professional recipient and a signed code of conduct. Now, for the CCBA, in terms of the exam details, the application fee is, because you must fill an application fee. Interestingly, for the PMP certification, the application fee is free. You are not paying for the application fee to apply for a PMP certification exam, but for a business analysis certification exam, either at entry level or at capability level or at professional level, which is the CBAB, you understand, there's an application fee. The application fee is about $125 and is non-refundable. You understand? Then the exam fees is for those who are members of IIBA. Remember, IIBA is the institute, you understand, International Institute for Business Analysis. If you're a member of that body, then the exam fee is $325. But if you're a non-member, the exam fee is $450. It's advisable you be a member of the IIBA. Just like, for PMP also, there's also a membership fee that you need to pay. Okay, so the exam is 150 questions done within 3 hours, 30 minutes. And the credentials has to be maintained every 3 years. Else, it will be expired if not renewed. So it means for the CCBA, you need to renew your certification. But for the entry level certificate in business analysis, it is a certification for life. It's not, you don't need to renew it. But for this level 2, you need to renew it after 3 years. It means after 3 years, it will expire. So you need to renew it. Now, let's come to the main one, which is the CBAB, which is the main reason why we're here. So the prerequisites for the CBAB certification, like I said, a minimum of 7,500 hours of business analysis work experience aligned with your BABWOC guide. Yeah. Uche, you have a question?
Yes, I heard you say something about renewing. When you say renewing, do you mean we'll write the exam again?
No. That's not what I said. That's not what I mean. Okay, yeah, I'll explain towards the ending of the class, so you'll be able to understand it much better. So, okay, so the prerequisite for this is a minimum of 7,500 hours of business analysis work experience aligned with the BABWOC guide in the last 10 years. You understand? So you must have a minimum of 900 hours in each of the 4 of the 6 knowledge areas and a minimum of 21 hours of professional development in the past 4 years. And then you must have 2 references from a career manager or a CBAB professional recipient and a signed code of conduct. These are the requirements. Okay. Now the exam details are such that it requires an application fee. An application fee is about about $125 and is not refundable. So it's the same thing with that of a CCBA. Same application fee, $125. Then you have the exam fee, which is $325 for IIBA members. But if you're a non-member, then the exam fee will be $450. You understand? Then sorry, I hope I'm not mixing this. Okay. Okay, so you have the exam duration being 3.5 hours, and then the credentials also has to be maintained every 3 years, especially to be able to ensure that you renew after 3 years. So you must maintain it within 3 years, else it will expire, and it will expire if you don't renew it. Good. Okay, so for the entry level, you must cover all of these areas of the BABWOC guide. Now, let me just give us a brief structure of the BABWOC guide so that we can understand what we mean by. Now, if you look at it, for the ECBA, you are required to cover all of these knowledge areas, and you must cover the techniques, the underlying competencies, the business analysis, key concepts. You know, you must cover all of these additional chapters in the Babok guide. Now, for the CCBA, all you just need to cover is from chapter 3 to chapter 8, which is where you have the 6 knowledge areas. I repeat, for the CCBA certification, what is CCBA again? Remember, certificate of capability for the business analyst. So it talks about the certification of capability, whereby you can acquire the skill sets. You understand? It's testing on your skill sets you've acquired, to be able to function as a business analyst. So it's going to just require you to study only from chapter 3 to chapter 8. So it means from chapter 3 to chapter 8 is where you have the 6 knowledge areas. That is all you are meant to study for the CCBA certification exam. Same thing also with the CBAB certification exam. You're only meant to cover from chapter 3 to chapter 8 of the Babok guide. What does the chapter 3 to chapter 8 involve? Let's go, because please take note, the difference between these two certifications, that's the CCBA and the CBA, that's the CBAB, is that the percentage of questions that will be seen in the exam in each of these knowledge areas will vary. You notice that for the CBAB, the percentage of questions from this particular chapter or this knowledge area will be 14%. And look at CCBA, 12%. Look at entry level, 5%. Can you see? Now, for this chapter on this knowledge area, elicitation and collaboration, you can see that for the CCBA, you have 20% of your questions coming out from there, while in CBAB, 12%. Look at requirements lifecycle management. 18% of your questions will be coming from this knowledge area, while 15% of your questions will be coming from this knowledge area. Now, look at strategy analysis. Have you noticed that for the CBAB, the percentage of questions coming from strategy analysis is higher? Have you noticed? Why is it higher? Because this is remember the pre-project, during project, and post-project. Have you noticed that this is higher? You understand? Which is the pre-project section, 15%. Now, for requirements analysis and design definition, this is where the chunk of your questions will be coming from. In short, if you are going to really be studying this particular knowledge area, is where you need to pay most of your attention to. You need to focus more around this area, because 30% of your questions will be coming from here. Do you understand? 30%. And the pass mark for the exam is 62% and above. It's a pass or fail exam. It's a pass or fail exam. So you should score from 62% and above. Anything below that is a fail. Do you understand? So you should be able to score from 62% and above. So the chunk of your questions will be coming from this knowledge area called the requirements analysis and design definition. Then the last one, which is, remember, this requirements analysis and design definition is during project, which is during the implementation of the solution recommended during the strategy session, during your strategy analysis. Then you now have 14% of your questions coming from solution evaluation, which is the post-project, which is after the solution has been implemented by the project manager. You now have to evaluate how well this solution has addressed the problem that was identified during the strategy session. 40% of the questions will be coming from here. So it's important we understand the structure of the Babok guide. It's important we understand the structure of the Babok guide. Now, the chapter 1 to chapter 2, chapter 1 and chapter 2 is where you have the introduction. Introduction. That's where you're going to have the introduction of the Babok itself. Introduction of the Babok, chapter 1 and chapter 2. That's where you have the introduction. Now, the CBAB certification is not going to test you on chapter 1 or chapter 2. Please take note. The CBAB certification exam is not going to test you on chapter 1 and chapter 1 and chapter 2 is introduction. Can you see it? It's just the introduction into the business analysis. Do you understand? It talks about introduction. Chapter 1 and chapter 2 talks about, look at it, chapter 1 and chapter 2, which talks about business analysis key concepts. Now, where for the entry level, you are going to need to cover everything in the Bible guide from chapter 1 to the last chapter for entry level. But remember, it's only testing you on basic knowledge. I repeat, it's only testing you on basic knowledge. But for the CCBA and the CBAB certification, they are going to focus on chapter 3 to chapter 8. Chapter 3 to chapter 8 is where you have your knowledge areas. So you will notice that you have the first knowledge area, which is business analysis, planning, and monitoring, chapter 3. You have the second knowledge area, which is elicitation and collaboration, chapter 4. You have requirements, lifecycle, and management, chapter 5. That's the third knowledge area. The strategy analysis, chapter 6. That's the fourth knowledge area. Requirements, analysis, design, and definition, chapter 7. That is the fifth knowledge area. Then solution evaluation, which is the last and the sixth knowledge area, solution evaluation, chapter 8. So the exam is going to be testing you in these chapters and these 6 knowledge areas. Do you understand? It's going to be testing you in these areas, from chapter 3 to chapter 8. Now, so what do the other chapters talk about? The other chapters talk about, number 1, chapter 9 talks about underlining competence. So it means you must have the required competence to be able to apply this knowledge. How many of the knowledge areas? 6, to a particular business. So it means you must have the required competencies. What are the required competencies? Analytical thinking and problem solving. You must have this competence. Behavioral characteristics. You must have this competence. Business knowledge. You must have this competence. Communication skills, interaction skills, and tools and technology. You must have these 6 competencies. You must have these 6 competencies to be able to apply the knowledge. What knowledge? 6 knowledge areas to a business. And in applying them, you require certain tools and techniques. What are the tools you require? There are 3 categories of tools that you require. Follow me carefully. There are 3 categories of tools. What are the 3 categories of tools? The first one is office production, office productivity, and office productivity tools and technology. Office productivity tools and technology. Office productivity tools and technology talks about tools like Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Word. You understand? Those are examples of office productivity tools. Now, we have business analysis tools and technology. Example of business analysis tools are like Confluence. Those are examples of business analysis tools, Confluence. Then you have also communication tools. Example of communication tools are Zoom, Microsoft Teams, Google Meet, and the likes. Those are examples of communication. Even PowerPoint presentations, they are examples of communication tools. So you have 6 knowledge areas. You have 6 competencies required of a business analyst. And then he's going to be able to apply this knowledge to a business using these 3 categories of tools. Now, even the use of these tools, there are techniques he will need to use to be able to actually utilize these tools. What are the techniques? There are 50 techniques. There are 50 techniques. And you can see the techniques here: acceptance and evaluation criteria. That's a technique. You understand? All of these are under chapter 10 of your Babok guide. There's backlog management, that's a technique. There's balance scorecard, that's a technique. There's benchmarking and market analysis, that's a technique. There's brainstorming, that's a technique. There's business capability analysis, that's a technique. There's business case, that's a technique. There's business model canvas, that's a technique. There's business rules analysis, that's a technique. So if you look through, you see that everything scrolls. If I scroll down, you'll see that there are 50 techniques. This is, you can see it, this is the 50th technique workshops. So you have 6 areas you must have knowledge of. We call them 6 knowledge areas. You have 6 competencies, underlying competencies that a business analyst must have. Then you have certain 3 categories of tools utilized to apply this knowledge in a business. And there are 50 techniques. There are 3 categories of tools and there are 50 techniques. Now, you must also understand that in actually approaching the analysis or analyzing your business, you must analyze it from these 5 perspectives. So this is chapter 11. Chapter 3 to chapter 8 covers the 6 knowledge area. Chapter 9 talks about the underlying competencies. Chapter 10 talks about the techniques. Then chapter 11, which is the last chapter, talks about in the way you analyze a business, you must look at it from these 5 perspectives. You either look at analyzing your business from an agile perspective, or from a business intelligence perspective, or from an information technology perspective. When we talk about agile, remember agile talks about, it's gotten from an English word called agility. And agility means be flexible. And when we talk about flexible, being able to respond very quickly to change. You understand? So your ability to be able to respond very quickly to change as the change is happening. You understand? You must be able to respond very quickly to change. So from an agile perspective, you must learn how a business needs to be able to respond very quickly to change, meaning it must be able to be agile. You understand? And being agile here, you will notice that there were 17 software development critics that gathered at a Snowbird skill result and coined the terminology agile methodology and came up with an agile manifesto. So agile talks about your ability to be able to respond very quickly to change, not just respond to change, respond very quickly to change. Immediately change hits, your ability to respond very quickly determines whether your business will still be in existence or not. A typical example, immediately COVID hit, one of the organizations that immediately began to project themselves, because it was more or less like opportunity, preparedness meeting opportunity, was a company like Zoom. They were able to respond very quickly. You understand? Immediately the change in the way work, you understand, is being done. Zoom began to project itself. And of course, a lot of people began to jump on that platform, and which is what we are using today to be able to actually carry out meetings virtually. So organizations' ability to respond to change over there will give them a competitive advantage. Another very important aspect and perspective you must analyze a business from is business intelligence. Business intelligence looks at all of your financial data, looks at your records, you understand? And there's a clear-cut difference between business analytics and business analysis. Please take note, there's a difference between business analytics and business analysis. What's the difference between them? Let's go back to our slides so that we can see the difference. There's a difference between business analysis and business analytics. A lot of people tend to mix them up. So I'm doing business analytics. That is a fraction of business analysis. Business analytics is a part of business analysis. Do you understand? So business analysis is more concerned with functions and processes, while business analytics covers data and reporting. So business analytics is where you have things like data analytics, data analysis, data science, big data. All of that is under the business analytics, is a fraction of business analysis. Do you understand? Business analysis is more encompassing. It involves more than just business analytics, which is a fraction. And it is from business analytics, you are getting Google Analytics and things like that. You understand? It's utilized to capture data analyze data to be able to give a adequate report that will give management the adequate information to make decisions so that they can make what is called informed decisions. So, when it comes to business analysis and business analytics, still, many organizations still use these terms interchangeably, mixing them up. Because as we have learned, what is business analysis? Let's understand business analysis uses. How is business analysis different from other professions? Because they are not the same. Business analysis work involves or includes communicating among stakeholders, development teams, testing teams, and other departments. There are many other job roles that have similar job descriptions as that of a business analyst, such as, IT business analyst, technical business analyst, online business analyst, business systems analyst, or systems analyst. So how is business analyst then different from these job roles? Simple. Business analysis is slightly different from financial research, different from project management. Because people tend to mix business analysis and project management. They are not the same. Business analysis looks at the entire business from right to left, from top to down. Project management is only a part of the entire business. It only looks at the implementation of the recommended solution. Please take note of it. Its focus is only to implement the recommended solution that came from the strategy session. Good. So business analysis is slightly different from quality assurance, organizational development, testing, training, documentation, and even several other actions. But depending on the organizational goals, a business analyst will act as one of the roles, you understand, mentioned above. Now, one of the things you must also take note of are the perspectives that you're actually, approaching your business with. The perspectives, which is very important. There are various perspectives. So if you look at it again, we have the business and intelligence perspective. We have the information technology perspective. And this is telling us about things like cloud computing. This tells you about the fact that a lot of things are going tech. So you now have today fintech, ed tech, you now have med tech. So a lot of things are going into technology. So you must understand information technology very well. Another thing is business architecture. You must understand the architecture of the business. And then when we talk about the architecture of the business, we're talking about the entire structure. This is an example of a business architecture. Let me show us so that we can see this. This is an example of a business architecture. Okay, this is an example of a business architecture which looks at your entire business. Oh, please, can we see the slides? Please, can you see the slides?
Not yet. We can't see it. Not yet.
Okay. Can we see it now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is an example of a business architecture that looks at your business from the mission. So whatever you are doing, you must be conscious of the mission, the vision, and the core values of your business. No matter the opportunity that is presenting itself within your business, you must look at the business from the mission, the vision, and the values, or core values. You understand that every business must also have a governance structure. You must have a governance structure. Then you must look at your business. The business is broken into two sections: the day-to-day, which is your operation, and your strategy, which involves your effecting a change. You see, the change that is effected is where project comes in. The change to be effected is where projects comes in. Do you understand? Those changes, once they are effected, you understand, then they are carried out in operation. So you have the operational, which is day to day, which is broken into either functional silos or geographic segments or market segments or customer segments and all of that. Then you have a products and services and your customers. Now, this is an example of a business architecture. Now, I'll go into details in the full course. For those of us who are here, this session is just a few minutes, and the full course is actually scheduled to come up this month. It's actually, for those who want to do the weekday courses, it's actually starting on the 15th. It's going to run from on the 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th. Now, it's going to run for 4 days. For those of us who are interested in the full program, for those who are interested in the weekday classes, it's going to run from 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th of this month. It's just 4 days. And originally, this course is actually 250,000 for the training only. But for those of you attending this training today, the price has been discounted considerably. So instead of paying the original 250 for the training, all you just get to pay is 150,000. All you just get to pay is 150,000. So 100,000 has been taken off. But anyone who is paying for the course today, if you are paying for the training today, instead of 150,000, all you get to pay is just 100,000. And you will enjoy the opportunity to run this course from on the 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th, 4 days. We also have a weekend class for those of us who probably might be busy at work and feel we might not be able to take out time to enroll for the weekday classes. There's also a weekend class which will run for 2 weekends, Saturday, Sunday, Saturday, Sunday. So it's also going to be within this month, which is going to be the last 2 weekends of this month. The last 2 weekends of this month. So if you are going to enroll for the weekend class and you are paying today, instead of paying the original 250, all you just get to pay is 100,000 and you can enjoy this course. But if you are saying, oh, I can't afford it today, I don't have the funds. If you're going to be paying after today, you understand, you have, I think, let's give us 24 hours to make this payment. So after 24 hours, it will revert to 150. For those who attended this class alone, I have your attendance, I have your the record of those who attended. It's only for those who attended this training today. Anyone who didn't attend this training will probably not get the opportunity. But as long as you have a registration stating that you registered and attended this training today, you get the opportunity to register for just 150. It's the full program. It's coming up this month. Don't miss it. But of course, we're just going to cover the fundamentals, the basics. So this is an example of, a business architecture. So what happens is that a number of times, at the operational level, the business analyst evaluates the business that is happening within the operations and looks at the products and services and the customers and checks their financial records and is able to tell if the business is making profit or is making loss. Now, if it is generating a lot of revenue and it's spending less to do that, then, listen, then it is going to be generating a whole lot of profits. So we have, somebody asked, will the full 4 days training be online? So we have both options. We have physical class, we have online class. So it depends on which you prefer. We have physical class, we have online class. So you can either join on the online class or you can come physically to our center. Our center is within Lagos at Maryland Anthony, number 70B Olorun Logbo Street, Anthony Village, Lagos. So I don't know what customer coverage is. What do you mean by that? Okay, so the idea here as a business analyst, looking at it from the business architecture perspective, what are we looking at? Perspectives. You understand? Perspective is what we're looking at. What's the first perspective? Agile. What's the second perspective? Business intelligence. What's the third perspective? Information technology. What's the fourth perspective? Business architecture, which is this. So the business architecture requires you to look at the whole business holistically. You must identify the mission, the vision, the goals, the core values of the business. You must understand the governance of your entire business in terms of the board of directors, who are the senior managers, the committees. You must understand the governance. Those guys, these guys sitting here. You must know who the governance of the business is. Then you now look at what is going on right now. Because the whole idea of business analysis is that you want to move the business from its current state to a future state. You want to move the business from its current state to a future state. Do you understand? So in order to move the business from a current state to a future state, you must change something. Do you understand? So you must analyze how the business is currently running. That's why you're looking at the day-to-day, the operations, which you call business as usual. And some business operations are broken into functional silos. You understand? IT department, HR department, finance department, marketing department, and so on and so forth. So businesses are broken into what we call customer segmentation. You have the business that addresses students, that addresses youth corpus, that addresses working class people. You understand? That addresses married couples, that addresses women, that addresses men, that addresses single men, that addresses single women, that addresses working class people. So it's broken into, customer segment. It could even be geographic segments. You understand? North, south, south, central, east. You understand? West, southwest, east, and so on and so. It could be broken into geographic differences. You understand? Segments. So understanding that, you now understand what products or services is this business rendering, and who are their customers. Do you understand? Next thing is to evaluate how much is this business generating. You understand? And how much are they expending to generate this kind of money? What are their investments? You understand? How much are they spending to run this business? So you are going to ask for financial records, financial statements, customer records, you understand? And things like that. That will not give you an idea of whether the business is making profit or is making loss. If the business is making loss, that means you need to strategize. So you go to the strategy session and begin to sit down with senior management to begin to sit down to strategize on how to change how the business is currently doing to increase profit and to ensure revenue is increased or cost is reduced in order to reduce loss and increase profit. So it means you must effect a change to the way business is doing. What is business analysis again? Let's go there so that we can understand what I mean by effect change. Effect change. What is business analysis again? Let's go there and look at what I mean by that. Okay. I hope you can see my slides. Okay. So business analysis is the practice of enabling change. Look at it. The business analysis is the practice of enabling change. Now, it is not knowledge, it is the practice. It is not knowledge. You understand? It is practice. So business analysis involves the application of knowledge within given scenarios, you understand, and situations. So that application of knowledge requires skill sets. That's why it's a practice. That's why you have medical practitioners. They are professionals. Do you understand? So someone who's a business analyst practices. So it involves the practice of enabling change, meaning you change the current state of the way the business is running to move it to a future state. So it is the practice of enabling change in an enterprise. When we say enterprise, we are talking about a context. So when we talk about enterprise, there's a context in which you are enabling change, either within a unit or within a department or within a team or within a company or within an organization or within a state or within a country or within a local government or within a continent or within a, you understand, nation. The idea is that there's a context in which you are enabling change. It is not enterprise as in, some people, when they hear enterprise, they think of, a conglomerate or companies. No. Enterprise talks about the context. So this brings us to something you must be clear on, which is what we call the business analysis core concept model. The business analysis core concept model. Now, you notice something here. You notice that there are 6 core concepts. The first one is change. Here, can you see it? So business analysis is the practice of enabling change within an enterprise. That's context. Context within an enterprise. That's context. So let's go back to the definition again so that we can relate with what I'm saying. Let's go back to the definition. Business analysis enables change. So it involves the practice of enabling change in an enterprise by defining needs. So take note of this. Change, 1. Enterprise, which is the context in which this change is going to be enabled. By how do you actually enable change? First, by defining needs. That is where needs analysis comes in. Or let me use a better word that you can relate with. That's where strategy analysis, which is pre-project, which is where the strategy sessions are happening. How do they enable change within an enterprise or within the context of a department or a unit or a team? Is by defining needs, which is by coming up with the pre-project strategy analysis, needs analysis, then by recommending solutions. So notice change, enterprise context, needs, solution. So after the strategy session, a solution will be recommended, which will be implemented by the project manager. So the business analyst will come in during the implementation of the solution by doing requirements analysis and design definition. Then look at it, recommending solutions that deliver value to stakeholders. To deliver value to stakeholders. So solution evaluation is to verify whether the implemented solution has brought value to who? To the stakeholders. So what are the key core concepts here? Change, context, which is the enterprise, needs, solutions, value, and stakeholders. Look at it again here. Look at it here again. Change, practice of enabling change within a context. Within a context by what? Defining needs, and recommending solutions. By recommending solutions to delivering value to customers and stakeholders. So these are the 6 business analysis core concept model. 6 business analysis core concept model. Please take note of it. So we have 6 knowledge areas. You have 5 perspectives. You have 50 techniques. You have 3 categories of tools. So where does the Babok Guide talk about perspective? Chapter 11. Where does it talk about the 6 knowledge areas from chapter 3 to chapter 8? Where does it talk about the underlying competencies? Remember, there are 6 underlying competencies. It talks about this in chapter 9. Then the techniques are talked about in chapter 10 of the Babok Guide. Then in chapter 11, it talks about the perspectives. What is the first perspective? Agile. Second perspective is the business intelligence. Next perspective is information technology. Next perspective is business architecture. And then the last perspective talks about business process management, which is where things like Lean comes in and Six Sigma comes in. Lean and Six Sigma. Lean, whereby you actually talk about improving process flow. So Lean talks about how you are able to improve process flow, how you're able to improve process flow. So you are going to look under the perspective of business process improvement. You're going to deploy these tools called Lean management and Six Sigma. Lean helps you eliminate waste of resources and improve process flow, while Six Sigma helps you talk about reducing defects and ensuring you reduce variation. Eliminate defects and reduce variation. All this is addressed in this perspective of business process management. So what are the 5 perspectives of business analysis again? Agile, business intelligence, information technology, business architecture, which I extensively showed us just now, and business process management. So the business architecture talks about the business analyst analyzing the operations and identify the current state, that it needs to increase revenue or it needs to reduce cost. Then it recommends a solution. So that means it comes up with a strategic way to reduce cost or a strategic way to be able to increase revenue. That's the strategy. Then that recommended solution, which is either a product. So the strategic way to reduce cost is a product. A product, when you see a company coming out with a product, it means they've come out from a strategy section to provide a solution. That strategy session they've come out with to provide a solution is a product or a service they want to render. That creation of that product is the project management itself. And that project management is where you have things like, setting up a PMO, a project management office. A project management office. I hope you can see my slides. Is the setting up of a project management office. Now, setting up of a project management office is having to put your projects that are similar into programs. Do you understand? Into programs. So similar projects are brought into a program. Then those programs are put under a portfolio. So you now have what is called portfolio management. So you have portfolio management, which is a collection of programs. Then you have project management, you understand, and program management. All of them are within a PMO, a project management office. Do you understand? Now, I'm going to go into details and extensively, we're going to cover all of this in the course of the full program. We can't cover all of this in the few minutes we have, but here we're just trying to give us the basics, the fundamentals of what it entails. Now, finally, before we go, I must point out that we have 6 areas that you need to have knowledge of, 6 areas of every project that you need to have knowledge of. But even though you know that you have 6 areas that you need to have knowledge of, you must understand also that these 6 areas that you must have knowledge of, is such that to be able to apply this knowledge in the business using the required tools and techniques, there are tasks involved, and there are 30 tasks involved. There are tasks you must carry out, because when we say knowledge areas, that's vague. You understand? That's vague. But even though you know you have knowledge areas, you must understand that to be able to effect this knowledge using the required tools and techniques, you must require certain skills, which are the competencies, the underlying competencies you have. You understand? There are tasks you must carry out. So there are 30 of these tasks. Follow me carefully as we round up. There are 30 of these tasks. Now, the elicitation and collaboration has 5 tasks. The business analysis, planning, and monitoring has 5 tasks. The requirements lifecycle management has 5 tasks. The strategy analysis has 4 tasks. Then the requirements analysis and design definition has 6 tasks. And then solution evaluation has 5 tasks. Totally 30 tasks. You understand? Which is what you see here. Business analysis, planning, and monitoring, you can see 5 tasks. Elicitation and collaboration, 5 tasks. Requirements lifecycle management, 5 tasks. Strategy analysis, 4 tasks that you must carry out. Look at the tasks. Requirements analysis and design definition. This is where the bulk. This is where the exam is going to really throw questions at you. That's why you have 30% of your questions coming from here. And you have 6 tasks carried out in this area. You understand? And then finally, you have the solution and evaluation, which has 5 tasks. Good. So this is where we are going to draw the curtain for today. I believe we've learned a lot in the course of our session. And I believe for those of us who are interested in the full program, we can decide to register and enroll for the full program. You can decide to register and enroll for the full program. So in case you have any questions, I'll be glad to attend to any of your questions and address any of your concerns. Maybe you are too shy to speak up. You can actually type it and I will address any of your concerns right now.